Not even tell you how many people have asked me to do this, because apparently this guy from the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial reminds a lot of people of this guy. So here you go.
I'm an expert witness. I'm saying as an expert witness.
Let's start with the easy question then.
That was pretty easy. Go ahead.
Doctor, you're going to have to just answer the questions.
Okay, sorry about that. Having trouble getting into this side.
You need to just answer the question.
Okay. I'm not sure why we're arguing psychiatry, because I'm telling you what it is.
Dr. Siegel, you just need to answer the question.
Okay.
Mr. Depp fell asleep with ice cream in his hand. That's not vomitous, right?
I was told it was vomitous.
Okay.
It does fit just a little too well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The new opposing counsel is my dad.
Your dad is Robert Zane?
Is it so hard to believe that my father's black?
Robert Zane is black?
You think this is a year-round tan?
I know who you are, but I can't believe that your father is the Robert Zane and you never said anything to me.
I don't like people here knowing.
Oh, and I'm just people?
Or something to that effect, but I don't remember the exact words I used.
But something
No,
to that
they
effect?
didn't.
Is it your testimony? Let me ask.
She gestured, I can't remember which one, to my face.
Bro, I fucking can't. I cannot. No, they did not. Fuck you. I could not.
Hello and welcome back to Catch a Call TV, and where we're streaming the trial watch of GA versus Leilani Simon. She has been accused of murdering her own son by dumping him in the landfill. Right now they are making some what's it called? They're making some arguments in court arguments to some of the evidence that are about to come in. So without further, I'm going to be showing those arguments right now. Okay.
He won't understand why he's asking for it. But
sorry for the echo there. Just had to sort that
that's
out.
the main reason to exclude it, not include it. So that's why we're making the motion in limine, Judge, and we leave it with the court.
Yeah, so they're making motions in limine right now.
To consider what you both just presented. So let's take about a 15-minute break.
Oh, they're going on break.
We're in recess.
Okay, they're going on recess. So while they're on recess right now, I'm going to be showing a trial, the Sarah Boone trial while it's going on. But yeah, while they're on recess, I want to take this opportunity to basically say welcome everyone. Thank you everyone for tuning in. I'm going to invite. Let me just share this stream with everyone else.
Connect with your customers at the right time.
So yeah, once again, shout out to everyone that are currently live with us right now. Let me just send out a tweet to everyone to let them know that we are currently live. Okay, so once again, everyone that's in the chat, hello. Let me know how you're feeling. We are currently showing the Toddler murder trial, but let me go over and see what's happening on Sarah Boone's case while this court is currently on recess. Oh, found a better feed. I personally prefer this one. Personally prefer this feed here. So let that be installed there. Okay, so let me just make that tweet out. Join us today. before I do that, let me actually switch over. Switch over to Sarah Boone trial. So let me actually switch over right now. I could have just done this. Easy does it, but like I said, I was born.
Records in 2022 or 2021.
Before we continue, I was born in 1991, so I'm a millennial. I should know how to work all these things. I saw the birth of MySpace, all of Bieber, all of those things. I saw the birth of YouTube. I saw everything, and I was in the forums. So I don't know how to work all these things by now. But anyway, let's get back into the motions hearing for the Sarah Boone trial.
Mature to ask, and it's not unfair to ask for what is going to be introduced in this case, or attempted to be introduced, particularly given the court's rulings. We had rulings from this court, I think you entered it August 5th or August 6th, setting forth a schedule for what are you both, and the state too, we both disclosed what are we actually introducing. The state has actually narrowed down the digital phone evidence from the defendant greatly to about 160 pages of the PDF from the thousands that it was, and handful and a few dozen pictures and videos. We have done everything we can to narrow it down. We're not asking for much here. We're not asking for much. And just to bring the point about the BAC, Jorge Torres had a 342 medical blood, so there's probably some conversion, 10-15% for legal blood, at the time that he was admitted for his facial injuries. That would be a different picture than on the date of the plate glass window. On that date, again, I expect that the testimony from the defendant will be that he was the aggressor, the violent one, and his blood alcohol level would be relevant for the plate glass window one. But I'm struggling to understand what his BAC's relevance is if we're all at a family gathering at the Torres's and she says something that triggers one of his brothers to violently beat him nearly to death, what his BAC's relevance is on that particular occasion, unless her testimony is the decedent was being violent with her that day, and that's just not my understanding of how the deposition's read. So, Judge, we're not asking for much. I don't think Friday's sufficient. We're attaching jeopardy to this case as soon as we swear this panel in, hopefully tomorrow morning. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Okay, so I'm trying to get myself up to speed with what they're arguing for.
Has reviewed the motion and has reviewed both the arguments. I'm struggling with the relevance on some of these things. So I'm going to grant the state's motion in part to the factual narratives as to why Mr. Torres was seeking treatment. That will be admissible. I'm going to overrule the state's objection with that, and I think they've conceded that that is relevant. Information regarding blood alcohol content in both the December 24, 2017 incident and the 2018 incident, I find potential relevance, so I'm going to overrule the state's objection with regard to those. However, the balance, I'm going to sustain the state's objection and grant their motion in limine unless there's evidence provided in the defense's case in chief that make these other documents relevant. Because at this point in time, it is unclear to me how the balance of other hospital records, nursing rounds, pre-op, post-op, the surgery itself from the 2017 incident are relevant to a fact of consequence, be it any of the material allegations the state needs to establish or any material allegations the defense needs to establish for the purposes of self-defense. I'm not foreclosing you, but there needs to be something for you to link these documents together for me. All right. Any clarification or questions with regard to the state's rule or the court's ruling? Defense. All right. Thank you. That now takes us to the objections to the evidence. Give me a moment. We have the defendant's objections to state's digital exhibits filed October 15th. The state's state's response to defendant's fifth amended reciprocal discovery exhibit list filed also on October 15th. I have reviewed these. I'm a little bit of a loss in the state's response because I don't know what items 1, 2, et cetera are. It just identifies them. I'm not sure what it is that they are.
It's tracking their 5th amended exhibit list. As I pointed out before, it got really confusing because as they added things, it would not go to the end of the list, it would get put into the middle of the list. So I started over, scrapped my first response to the first amended one, scrapped my second response to the second amended one, both of which were filed on September 27th in a timely manner. And this is why my paragraphs start with 0 in my response, because they have a paragraph 1A, and then they list the items, and I wanted to make it very easy and clear for the court to just be able to flip to what paragraph I'm talking about for each item, tracking their 5th amended exhibit list.
But here's the problem that I'm having. On September 27th, I see the notice of provision of defendant's 3rd amended exhibit list. When was the 5th amended exhibit list provided?
That might be a problem with them not filing things with the clerk of the court.
Okay.
I'm getting copies of some pleadings, but they're not bait stamped with the clerk of the court's e-filing system on the top left, so I'm not certain that they've filed anything with the clerk of the court.
Here's the other problem that I have. All I see on my end is the notice of providing. It doesn't identify anything. It's a 1-page document. So it's hard for me to say what, I know you may have seen it, but the court hasn't seen it based on what's been filed.
I believe I would direct any questions about why that's not filed with the clerk of the court to the defense.
Okay, all right. I need clarification, Mr. Owens, as to when the 5th amended reciprocal discovery exhibit list was filed and what is in it. Because the notice that I see in the court file from September 27th is just a notice. It doesn't identify anything for me to line up item 1 and item 1 as to what they purport to be.
You're asking for when it was filed. We're checking on that. When it was filed. What was the next question?
All I have is a notice. So on September 27th, there was a notice of provision of defendant's 3rd amended exhibit list. And it's just that.
You need to stop slacking off.
I'm not lying. Okay. I feel like I've been knocking out tasks left and right. Once the problem.
I'm not good with these ads.
Or you can send it to Madam Clerk and she can print it out to me, because I'm having difficulty lining up what these things are, because all I have in the court file is this was sent on this day, but I don't know what any of these things are.
We can move on to something else and let me get.
Unless we've got some housekeeping matters to address for this afternoon. But unless I'm missing something, the only other thing that we've got teed up to address this morning is the objections. Okay. Give me 1 second. Okay. All right. I got an email this morning from Juror Services. Juror number 551. I don't recall from what panel. No, I'm sorry. Juror number 471, panel 3, seat 48. Tested positive for COVID, and Jury Services has instructed him not to return. Juror number 551.
What was the first one?
Sure. Juror number 471, panel 3, that would have been yesterday morning, seat 48.
So if you're just joining us right
Advised Jury Services this morning that he was not feeling well. After leaving the courthouse, he tested positive for COVID. I have instructed Jury Services to excuse him because we don't need that floating around. The other juror, 551, I don't have any other information as to what panel or seat. She took a COVID test and was negative. She is planning on reporting today. So due to the shrinking from 54 to 53, jury selection will take place here in 12 Alpha this afternoon as opposed to the 23rd floor. The deputies have already brought in additional chairs so that we can fit 53 people in here. That's the only other housekeeping matters that I have to address. So are there any housekeeping matters to address from the state before we address the objections issues?
wise to not utilize that expanded space when two of these panels, or at least one of these panels, has already been exposed to COVID up in the 23rd floor? Would it not be wise to use the bigger space in 23 since one of our panels has already potentially been exposed to COVID, as opposed to packing everybody in like sardines?
So if you're just tuning in right now, we are currently watching Sarah Boone's motions hearing.
Can you all approach this for a second?
While the court for GA versus Leilani Simon is in recess. I think it's gonna be in there for like 15 minutes. And this one is in recess. Well, it seems like they're gonna be making some arguments to the judge face to face. So I don't think we're gonna hear it on our end. But yeah, so for those that don't know about the case of Leilani Simon, she is accused of murdering, or should I say assaulting the child with a foreign object before dumping him into the trash. Now what makes this case very interesting is not only they are she had called into the police department saying that the child is missing, and when the investigators were investigating, a week later they found the body in the landfill. It came out during trial yesterday that she was on Percocet. I should change that around. That she was on Percocet as well as other drugs, and also she had a relationship in which he didn't, basically the boyfriend, I think his name was Danny or something like that. I could get that wrong, so if I do get it wrong, that's my bad. But I'm not good with names. But the boyfriend or the ex-boyfriend or the lover that she had was essentially not surprised that she was pregnant, and wasn't quite as she was offering to the investigators that he wasn't quite happy as to the reason that these two that they're having a child. So because of that, this is letting us think that that he may have had something to do with the killing, not her. So that's her defense essentially. That's what she's putting up. Will she get up and testify? I have no idea. But as far as the police interviews go, that was what she was trying to suggest.
Court's going to take a 15-minute recess to address jury selection location this afternoon, and to give the defense the opportunity to provide the fifth amended exhibit list. With regard to juror 551, what say the state?
No objection to the, well.
This call is going to go in recess as well.
If COVID, then I don't have a motion for cause.
Okay. Any response from the defense?
Make sure you hit the like button. That's the response from the defense. Make sure you hit that like button and also subscribe as well, and share the stream as well.
Correct.
Yes,
that is correct.
He's right. Yep. You see, you heard the defense. You got to do all these things.
I read you what was provided to me.
Yes, that's the information that's provided to me too. So you heard the defense. Make sure you hit that like button.
Court's going to be in a 15-minute recess. Thank you.
So that was a good message to leave off as they go off into their 15-minute recess. Make sure you hit the like button, the subscribe button, as well as the share button, so that all your friends could enjoy the stream along with us. You heard the defense. You heard Sarah Boone's legal team there. They endorsed that. So shout out to everyone that's online at the moment and joining with us. So checking back into the trial. Nothing is going on here. So nothing is going on in the Leilani versus Simon trial. While the court is in recess, let me know what you think about this trial. And when I say this trial, is the GA versus Leilani Simon. What do you think? Do you think she done it? Do you think that that the state has done enough to present a case to basically essentially prove her guilt? Let me know what you think. And also in regards to the Sarah Boone, I don't know that case too well. I haven't followed it from its inception, so I am as they will be doing jury selection right now, a proper juror for this, and I kind of wanted it to be like that because I didn't want to go in biased. I have tuned into some friend stream, but I wouldn't say that I paid. It was just to say hi to them. I'm back, but I have not paid attention to any of the preliminary emotions or those things. So I am very fresh to this case, as well as the Leilani Simon case. I don't know anything about the background of that except what's being presented in court. So yeah, I am really the unintentional juror here, because who expects in the court of public opinion, all of us are witnessing these cases, and we all have our opinions about these cases. I don't have mine yet. I do think, and this is going back to the Leilani Simon case. I do think that she was likely on drugs on the night that the murder may have happened. She calls him missing, but based on but it is pretty. I don't know how to take that case because I started watching from day one, not the opening statements. So I don't know what the opening statements were. I only started from mid of day one, and then it caught my attention immediately. Hold on, let me just mute that. That is adverts. Yeah, so I only caught the opening statements and sorry, not the opening statements. I only saw the pictures that was going on in day one, and that was what caught my attention, especially the pictures of the crib with blood. Well, what seemed to be blood, because what turned out to be in day two of the Leilani Simon case, Marion Lemons, sorry, I testified that she didn't believe that it was blood. She didn't. That what she felt when she first went in, that it was vomiting that she smelled more than blood, and so I don't know what that red substance is. Maybe I need to maybe I need to hear her testimony again. But from what I gathered from her testimony, that she didn't think that what was on the toddler was blood. But I haven't seen any evidence to say that it was blood, because they did spray the car, as well as taken him for further testing. I think Philip Schenker, who was the investigator doing that, I don't think he found there was a reaction. I don't think there was a reaction to what he did either, to say that it was blood, unless I'm misunderstanding all of this. I don't see anything to say that there was blood in the car, unless that's what that white substance was shown to us. I think it was called the Blue Star. Let me actually get up my TDLR for this one. I think I have made a record for this. Let me actually bring it up so that you guys can see. Hold on. GAV. Leilani Simon. Okay, so I'm bringing up right now. All right, I'm bringing it up right now. Let me. All right, so this is all I have here on my notes. This is all I have on my notes. He details the pictures he took, extra testimony of the images he took, including a mitigation pain, and then this is the part that came out on redirect because it says it expands that the blood he found and explain the meaning of Blue Star. So he did find blood, but I think this was in the car. So if something lights up after spraying the Blue Star, so the light up that I probably read there probably means that was the white substance that was found in the car. Then that means there's a reaction which they have to document. This is a test for blood, but it doesn't necessarily always mean blood. So so from the again, I don't know whether the white substance in the vehicle was the reaction to the Blue Star being sprayed on there. I don't know if that's the case, but the defense, all they did was basically, from my recollection, all they did was basically say that he did not inspect the beer can that was there, as well as the other items in the car for DNA or blood, etc. That he was just focusing on this one particular area, trying to basically say that he did not do a thorough investigation as the state are claiming. But let's just say that the white substance, what does mean that there was blood at the back, that means that she pretty much drove the baby, that she allegedly, or would mean that she pretty much had the baby in the back and drove it to the dumpster, etc. Again, I haven't seen enough to say that all of this means blood. I don't know. I don't know. Is basically what I'm saying. So this is the info for Danny. Not Danny. What am I saying? Marion Lemons. And all we have is basically the audio of our interview that was played to us, and the most important part here is this part where it says that it came out that Baba, I don't know who Baba is, but there's someone called Baba in here, didn't know that Leilani was pregnant. It's likely her boyfriend, and didn't want to believe that she had the child. Her witness statement was also read during this direct exam. So she gave a witness statement, and she was basically in a way trying to say that it was the boyfriend that could be responsible for it, but she didn't make it explicitly. She didn't explicitly say that. It was implied. I would say. For me, I have no idea what to think, and we're currently on day on day 3 now. But those were the notes that I have from day 2. Gosh. Again, I still don't know what to think from this trial, from what has come out. But yeah, we are gonna continue our trial watch. Let's see. Both courts are on recess. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, also tonight is going to be hindsight. I'm going to be discussing the Young Philly case. For an insight, I'm not going to be going into the case, but just the reactions to everything that's come out in regards with Young Philly. Young Philly, if you don't know, is very well known YouTuber, and he is with the Sidemen, but he has been accused of rape, grape, I should say, for YouTube purposes. He has been accused of grape, and also I believe assaulting a woman as well. There is a lot, but I shall be going live and looking at that story tonight on Hindsight Extra, as well as other stories reacting to the MRA versus the feminist debate on Jubilee. I shall be reacting to that as well, but mainly I am working on a video. That's what I'm gonna say. I'm working on a video for the Young Philly case, and for Hindsight Extra, I'm gonna be looking at the Jubilee versus the Jubilee video of men's rights activists versus feminist discussion that they have just uploaded. So I cannot wait to, and that's over on the main channel. The main Dr. Hines channel. Let me go and so no one is back. So let me see what other cases I'll run. At the moment, it's just these two. Let me check on Court TV. Let's see. Okay, the other. Now, I was watching this trial, the Ohio versus Quinton Nixon trial. I'm not sure if it's even reached its conclusion because it's currently still in day 4, but no one has live streamed that trial since. So I'm not sure if it's over. I'm not sure if it's still on, but he was supposed to be cross-examined, and that's the Quinton Nixon trial. Hold up, nope. Okay, so and that's the Quinton Nixon versus Ohio trial. Let me go into it. This is a trial that I'm referring to. I was watching that for quite a while, and I do have some thoughts about that case, but it's still stuck on day 4, and I don't even know if it's gonna. I don't know what's going on with that trial, but it did catch my eye because he's going pro se. He's representing himself, so, and they just stopped showing it. Yeah, that's just right. Long crime just stopped showing it. So I don't know what happened in that trial because they did not rest. The defense did not rest. The prosecution did not rest. So I have no idea as to what's going on with that trial. So when the court resume in session, we are going to get back in there. So while all that's going on, let me run the intro one last. Let me run the intro because that's something I forgot to do at the start of this stream. As I said, in regards to the Leilani versus Quinton Simon case, again, I do not know whether the images, whether the spray that was done on the vehicle, if that means that there was blood on the vehicle, I have no idea. So, and also, as you may have seen on the intro there, she was very like I said, I personally think like the most plausible, if I could give an opinion right now, the most plausible opinion would be the most plausible, most likely thing to have occurred may just be the fact that the most plausible or likely explanation is likely the fact that it's possible that she may have had a psychotic break during all of this, that she may have been. One second, let me fix myself. It's possible that she is possibly that she had experienced a psychosis, or not a psychosis, but some kind of a trip, some kind of a psychotic break. That's what my notes here says. Like, I would really want to see the history of the drug use presented by the prosecution. I will have to see that if there is an history there, because if she is a frequent drug user, then the Percocet that she may have taken, like the side effects are, like as I brought out in yesterday's stream, the side effects of Percocet does include vomiting and nausea. So is it possible that was her her vomiting? I have no idea, but the vomit was around the child area. She was also complaining of her tooth being hurt, being in pain that night. Could this have contributed to the child killing? I have no idea, but that's the case. Could this have been the reason why she took all that anger out on the child? The pain in her teeth, of getting the wisdom teeth taken out, because she did say to the investigators that her tooth was hurting so much that she had asked for, I think she was prescribed. Actually, I cannot remember. She was only given the Abnosol for the tooth, so she wasn't prescribed Percocet. I didn't hear that, but she was given. She was given the Abnosol for the tooth. I think it's called Ambisol. But yeah, like I said, like I wrote here, the fact that Percocet was mentioned is a big factor in this case. I will say that I am very unsure. I myself personally, I am unsure if that was blood on the crib. I myself, I'm unsure, because Marion Simmons basically said that she didn't think that was blood on the crib. So that has put me. I mean, I look at it. My eye test is not failing me. I personally think that could be blood, but I don't know if the investigators are not sure if it's blood. Then maybe I should think the same. But I mean, there was no follow up to say, well, did you find that it was blood or something like that? Because all she was focused on was the fact that all they focused on was the fact that it was the vomiting, the vomit that they smell on the scene. So she said so I don't so whose vomit is the big question now. Whose vomit was that then? Was it Quinton's vomit, or was it Leilani Simon's vomit? We don't know. We don't know as of yet, because the evidence has not been presented. But the evidence presented so far, for me, is not. It's very limiting. It's not as limiting. It's not as incisive as I thought it would be, I should say. Let me know how you're feeling in the chat. All right. So Abun is back in session. So let's go back into.
Defense.
All right. Defense, you hear
Ms.
the
Boone is
defense?
still seated at counsel's table wearing the same gray suit and white blouse from this morning. Can y'all approach?
Okay, while they're approaching and doing that, I think they're gonna. Again, I don't know anything about this case, this Boone case. All I know is the fact that the boyfriend there was a lot of domestic violence incidents in in the Sarah Boone case, and the boyfriend was found in the suitcase. He was saying, I can't breathe in the suitcase, but she was like, oh, I thought he was all fine and all of that. So it seems quite cut and dry, but she has been through so many lawyers. That's the only part that I do know. She has been through so many lawyers. I think this is probably a 11th or something like that, or 10th or 8th or 9th or something like that. I'm not sure, but she has been through so many lawyers before landing on this one, and now is gonna go to trial tomorrow. So I'll try and keep I'll try and keep in touch with both trials, and see what happens for each and every one of them. So yeah. But as they are approaching, hopefully something more can come out from this motions hearing. But they haven't gone into jury section yet, so I think they're gonna do that either maybe today, if I'm not mistaken, maybe today or something. Unsure. My burner. Oh, they're back in session. So okay, so Leilani Simon is back in.
There was a motion
court.
in limine by. Oh, that's right. We need Miss Simon. We can bring Miss Simon out.
So let's go back to that
was a
one.
bit more of a break.
All right. Leilani Simon is back in. Let me get my notepad ready so that I can document what's going on. Well, I'll make that for that sheet, for that document. I'll make it available on the Heinz website, drheinz.info, and you guys can. I'll put it here below so that you guys can see. I post frequently on there.
That Ms. Simon has joined,
if I do
both
choose to
of
cover
her
a trial,
attorneys at counsel's
you guys can get
table. The attorneys for
my
the state are present as well. We'd taken a break on the defense motion in limine with regards to text messages that the state intends to present and admit into evidence. I've heard and considered the arguments for both. At this time, the court does find that the unredacted version of the text messages is inadmissible. I went through and read all of the text messages. The sexual and salacious nature of some of the text messages in the exhibit are not relevant to the charged conduct. Now, after applying the balancing test, 403 balancing test, court finds that the probative value is that the prejudicial matters outweigh at this time the probative value. So they're not going to come in at this time.
The text
now,
messages.
If things change, the court will consider it, but at this time, that's the court ruling. Madam Clerk, I'm going to pass down State's Exhibit 83.
So they're not going to admit the text messages between her.
So, just to be clear, is it just the exhibit, or is it any testimony about from Detective Lemons about what they saw in the phone and what seemed to be going on with the defendant and Craig, and asking her about it and her answering? Is it just that the specific language in the messages is a 403 problem, or is it the subject matter in general?
The language is a 403 problem. Mr. Hilliard, do you object to the detectives just testifying about the information with the defendant and Craig/Red.
My motion had to do with the prejudicial effect of. My motion had to do with the prejudicial effect of this affair, Judge. It has to do with the sexual nature of it, which has nothing to do with the charge conduct, the reason we're here, or anything to do with the indictment itself. So my motion had to do with any reference to the affair, the language, anything like that. So I don't know how you can parse it out. I mean, we know that she went and met Red, but I don't think that there's any reason to get into the sexual nature of these text messages, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. And actually, I know how I see it in terms of parsing it out. The text messages don't come in, or at least the unredacted text messages do not come in as they stand right. It's already been some of the testimony and some of the evidence. I do find her meeting with Red is intrinsic. How far should the court go? How far should the evidence go in the sexual relationship? You know, at this point, I'm going to find that the sexual relationship with Red is inadmissible at this time as well.
I understand, Your Honor.
Okay.
I just wanted to be clear and the only reason I ask is the court initially referenced the unredacted text messages, which suggested to me that perhaps there was, in the court's view, some way of sanitizing it or sort of softening the evidence that would make it admissible. But I understand the court's ruling. Of course, we accept it and we're ready to move on.
All right. I thank you for your clarifying question.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Mr.
I
Hilliard.
understand it as well.
Okay.
Now that's interesting.
Right.
So she
Is
was
there
having an
anything
affair.
else that we need to take up before we bring the jury out?
So she was actually having
And
an
I
affair.
take it that we're going to pick up with Detective Lemons?
Yes.
Okay. And let's bring in the jury, please.
So far as we know, she was having an affair with this guy called Greg, and how relevant would that affair be? Could Greg had been the one to have gone and picked the district child up? I don't think. No. I'm sorry, I can't go with that. I'm sorry. I'm giving her too much benefit of the doubt. I don't think it's possible that a guy. Yeah, it's not out of the it's not impossible, but it's just not probable. Yeah, like it doesn't make sense how you find out that you have a kid and then your first thought is, let me kill the child. I don't think that's how. I would take the drug. I would take the drug theory over this any day, because
You may all have a seat.
unless the person is
Thank you.
a raging psychopath,
And
I just don't see that happening.
Is, have you been able to comply with the court's instructions?
No, I mean yes.
Have you discussed the case with anyone?
No, I mean yes.
No research
Yeah,
done?
No, I haven't.
All right. Thank you very much. We will now resume.
All right.
Mr. Dean, you may call your witness.
Marion Lemons. I think when we left off, we had just finished the interview that ended right about 10:30 at night on October 5th, is that right?
Yes.
Later that night, did you and Special Agent Snyder interview the defendant one last time?
We did.
Again in the interview room?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time I would publish from State's Exhibit 3 a file bearing the file name interview room 2355 to 0038.
Give me 1 second, I just want to make sure.
It could restart my computer. There's something wrong with my computer. If I... Nice water bottle. Nice. I like a water bottle. There's a lot of personality going on there. Make sure you hit the like button, folks, if you're tuned in. Let me know that you're alive. Make sure you use the chat as well.
No, this really not discussed, Judge. There'll be a little bit edited at the end, but other than that, no objection.
Thank you, Mr. Hilliard. Mr. Dean, you may proceed.
I may proceed. We'll see whether I can. All right.
I'm back to you. Hello. Like we've come in here several times and told you.
It's like I've been opening up everything that I could, and whatever I didn't clarify or say right, whatever I'm clarifying, I would never be the reason when something happened to my baby. You gotta understand that. I was so serious.
Well, they always say it did happen. Just relax. Just relax.
It's hard to relax. And not only have I lost my son this morning when I woke up, he's not there. But by the end of the night, I'm sitting there being told that everything looks like it's my fault. It's my fault because I put my son to bed last night and woke up to him being gone. That's my fault.
What happened? There's so many inconsistencies, Leilani, in your story.
How? I even sat there and got on like 360 for help, pulled up anything that I could to show that this is what happened, this is where I went, this is what I did, here's the proof that this is where I went. Every time I look for us, you can ask Penny, you can ask everybody that them babies were all in that room. Every single one was in that room when I went to bed. Every single one was in that room. And yes, they were perfectly fine. Yes, they were breathing. Yes, he moved when I touched him. Yes, they were all in there. And they were perfectly okay. Okay? And then I got up, he was gone. You want to talk about a mother's worst nightmare? A mother's worst nightmare is not knowing dang well at all if her child is even okay or not. A mother's worst nightmare is not knowing if you are ever going to even know what actually happened to your baby. It's not sitting there wondering if he's going to get a proper funeral. He's wondering if he's ever going to get one at all. He's wondering if he's ever going to know what happened to him.
Let's just say he's not going to until you let us know the accident that happened.
There's nothing that happened. I never said that. There's no accident. There's no inconsistency. What? Because I forgot to say something about my hand back up front, and then I came out true about it. Told you about it. No, I did not. I did not take a Percocet right now. I'm gonna go piss in the cup for you right now.
What did you do to
Right now.
alleviate the pain last night?
Babe, it was the Orajel. There's even Orajel in that freaking bathroom thing. There's one that's empty, which is the one that I ran out of when I called and asked to see if I had more. To see if they had more. No. So I got the one from her. Now there's one in there that's empty and there's one that's not. You have to see that in that bathroom. It's in the mirror. Okay?
Do you recall exactly when you left and where you met?
Yes.
Misty.
Misty.
Okay.
Exactly where I met her at. Right there. Like where those mailboxes and stuff you got. Yeah, bro?
What's Misty's last name?
I can't recall. I worked with her over before Sky was born. Before Sky was born.
We've got to talk to Misty right now. How do you get hold of her?
There's mouth problems you got going on. She's got a big old thing right here. I can give you where she works at.
Where she works?
I can at least give you that. She works at Bojangles. Bojangles on 17. On Ogeechee and 17.
You seem pretty normal for someone that hasn't taken a Percocet, I'll tell you that.
White lady, 4'11" maybe, 4'12".
How old is she?
40s, late 60s, late 30s, early 40s.
What kind of car does she drive?
She walks, which is why I had a couple of boys for her.
What shift does she work at Bojangles?
I can't tell you that no more. They were
Please supply the drug history. That's all I want to know.
working there, and they are now, so I can't tell you what shift she's working.
What color car was she driving when you met her at Bojangles?
She lives over there by Chevron or whatever, so she walked up and met me at the front of her neighborhood and gave it to me.
What other cars were there when you met her? Was it
There was a tan older car, almost like a cop car Ford something, or whatever, tan sitting in the driveway.
in her driveway or the driveway or at the Chevron?
No, like when I pulled up, I could see, like where she lived at, you could see her walk out of her driveway and walk up, and I'm pretty sure that was in her driveway of the tan car. So, but I've never seen her drive a car at all, ever. She's always walked to work and walked home, to the point that I was giving her rides because it was too hot at one point to do that. So,
When did the cereal spill in the back of the car?
that's been there, I won't lie to you, like over a month. My friend gave me a big old bag of a whole bunch of baby cereal that she didn't have anything to do with. I put it in the car.
What type of baby cereal? Like
First.
That you put like it's almost like a rice consistency.
It's rice or oatmeal is what it is. And
What
it
type
was
of container was it in?
the actual container itself that comes in from the store.
What does that look like?
It's blue and it's about this big and it comes up like this, and that's a screw on top that pops open. Oh, whatever.
And what happened? How did it come?
Two of them that she gave me, she had just opened and she tried it with her baby, her 9-month-old baby, and it didn't work very well with him. So she gave me those and a whole bunch of the other ones that she bought. When I put it back in the car, got home, took it out, the bag ripped, it fell, it spilled. Got another bag, collected up what I could, and took it inside. I still have all that baby cereal from that day except for that one.
And just describe to me again when you came home at 10:50.
That was from leaving red.
That was from leaving red, and that's when you went and you rubbed Quinton's hair.
I moved his hair out of his face and did this right here, and when I did, he said, and curled up. Exactly like that. Like, was like touching me and curled up.
And then when you left again, when you left to go meet Missy,
He was like, well, 13.
did you go by and check on Quinton as you walked out the door?
Yes. Yeah, and he was fine. He was still in the same position he was in when
Sometimes, the only thing more difficult than running a business is finding the right words to.
I can't remember exactly what time I walked out. I left the house like 1:13, so I probably walked out about 1:12, 1:11, and got in the car. And I went out the back door. That's where we park all the cars at. That's where we park them all at. So we always only use that back door. That front door is only ever used when we step outside to smoke. Or let the kids play in the front yard.
Have you ever left your house without your phone before?
Without my phone? No, I always have my phone on me.
Everywhere you go?
Everywhere I go, work, home, even if it's dead, I have it on me. Always. Now, I do fail to charge it all the time, but I normally,
At any point last night, did your phone go dead and you didn't have a charge?
no. My phone was on at all times last night. It was even plugged in next to the bed when I did lay down. When I did get in the cars, the phone's at 2 or 3 or 4%, so I did plug it in. If it wasn't plugged in, it would have died, and my trips, both times would have ended, you know, before I even got home. Y'all would have seen the time that I arrived home if it didn't stay on.
Do you normally meet Red out there at the Flowers Tacos area?
In that general area, normally it's ride share that we got ride share across, but it had a lot of people there, and there was Rover going to a pool.
Where or who like coordinates with Red?
What?
You or Danny? Like who talks to Red?
Honestly, it's got multiple different numbers, so like we message or we call one, or I'll get in contact with like his cousin, his name's Craig or whatever, and asked, but never like, he never has the same.
You said Craig?
Yeah, I can't contact Craig and I'll ask him, but that's just because they live at the same property.
Where do they live at?
For our straight lane is right after that red share. It's like one of the first driveways after the red share on the left hand side. One of the very first driveways.
Is it just Red and Craig there?
Yeah. And some other lady that lives in the back, that's none of my business. That's the whole of the property.
Okay.
So,
Is it just you that kind of deals with them, or does Danny too?
and we both do.
That too?
We both do. Just whoever decides to go, if we do decide to go.
Do they both deal the same thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
They both do the same thing. They don't even do nothing more than that. That's just what they do when they get a hold of pills and get a hold of weed.
Gotcha.
How long a time, like, minutes, seconds did you interact with Mitzi?
Missy, she walked up. I said, "Hey girl, how you doing?" She said, "I'm good." And she was like, "How's your mouth?" I said, "Good, good." It was she was taken out, but it's hurting like hell. And she's like, "Here you go." So that was literally probably a 2-minute conversation, and then she went home and I got in the car and went off.
Did the ordeal give you relief?
Enough relief to lay down long enough to fall asleep. When I woke up, my mouth was still hurting like hell, but it stayed down back here. The way that I did it with a cotton ball and putting the Orajel on it and then just kind of biting down on it, it stayed down long enough for me to...
You found that the Percocets helped with that some?
I didn't take no Percocets for that. No, I haven't taken Percocets in a long time, and I'm not taking any of them. If I do get them from somebody, it's getting them for somebody. So, all I did was a cotton ball, Orajel was out in the middle of it, call it up, put it in my mouth, bit on it. When I bit on it, my saliva going in it, made the Orajel come out and stay in this general area, which allowed my mouth to get numb enough to let go and go sleep.
All right, I've stopped the playback at 13 minutes and 47 seconds after midnight on October 6th of 2022. Now, you mentioned that you did go through the defendant's phone that day.
I did.
Manually, you talked about just thumbing through the actual phone itself.
Yes.
Did you look at the Cellbrite extraction that day, or was it just manual review?
For me, it was just manual.
Did you look in her text messages with Danny Youngkin?
Yes.
And in those text messages, did you see anything that was notable to you in terms of unsent messages?
I did.
Can you tell us about that?
There was a drafted message at the bottom that said getting Orajel, or headed to get Orajel.
Headed getting Orajel or headed to get Orajel?
Yes, sir.
Pardon me for interrupting. When you say a drafted text message at the bottom, can you just walk us through? I mean, I think everybody probably has cell phone. Can you walk us through very as clearly as you can what you mean?
Yeah, when you go to text somebody on your phone, you hit the little bubble at the bottom, type what you need to, but you have to send before it actually goes to that person. This was just the draft before she sent it to Daniel.
It's in the box where you type, but she had not hit send yet.
Yes.
Send yet. Okay. On this day, was the defendant kept in the room the entire time?
No.
Was she allowed to go out and smoke?
Yes.
Did that happen multiple times?
It did.
And in fact, on one occasion, did she just show herself out to smoke and walk out?
Yes.
Was she provided with food?
Several times.
And water?
Yes.
Now, at what point in the day, I guess now we're on the morning of the 6th, right?
Yes.
At what point did y'all decide it was time to wrap up and get some sleep?
Well, we had finished at her residence, and shortly after this interview, we arranged transport for the whole family to return to the residence.
Okay, so did the three who were there in the police station that day go back to the house?
They did.
And did you stay there working, or did you go home and get some sleep, or what?
I stayed there for a little while and went home for a little while.
Now, I want to talk to you about the following days. Was there an effort made to follow up on the Misty Origel story?
Yes.
And who was responsible for following up on the Misty aspect of that story?
Yes, for Misty, it was Special Agent Snyder.
And when did that happen? I mean, he'll testify about it, but when did it happen?
The following day.
Was there an effort to follow up on Danny's whereabouts on the morning of October 5th?
Yes.
And who was tasked with following up on that?
That was Detective Noble and Special Agent Solomon.
Okay. And was there some follow-up on Paul and when he had gotten home and so forth?
Yes.
And who was responsible for that?
Detective Noble and Agent Solomon.
Did they go out to the warehouse and get timesheets and some video?
Yes, the warehouse where everyone worked.
And there was some mention in these interviews of Henry Bubba-Moss Jr.
Correct.
And we heard yesterday from 2 FBI agents that were involved in that follow-up
Yes.
from the Augusta FBI office.
Yes.
Now, at some point, did somebody obtain Henry Bubba-Moss Jr.'s phone records?
Yes.
And who was that?
I believe we got the phone number from Special Agent Osden, and then we obtained the phone records afterwards.
And was that Detective Wilkins who got Henry Moss's phone records
I believe so, yes.
and relayed them to you?
Yes.
Now, was there follow-up on the vehicle, the Dodge Journey?
There was.
And what did that involve?
A search warrant was applied for and executed on the vehicle where we examined the inside, the outside, and then we also did what's called an infotainment search warrant.
And what is an infotainment search warrant?
So the electrical box that's in your vehicle, that stores data. So what we do is called an infotainment search, and we're just seeing what kind of data is stored in that electrical system.
I'm surprised they didn't use for Karen Reed.
From some vehicles, you can get as meticulous as every time a door opened or a light turned on. Others, we don't get anything.
And you as the investigative team tried to do that in this case?
We did.
Was that effort successful?
It was not.
Why not?
That make and model did not have the data in that system.
Yeah, and that's how you're supposed to investigate.
But you tried.
We did.
That's how you're supposed to investigate.
Now, one thing on the vehicle I'd like to ask you about. We heard some testimony from Officer Schenker at cross-examination about a potential spot of blood on the driver's seat.
Yes.
And we also heard him testify that he provided all of his pictures that he took that day to you.
Yes, everyone was in constant contact with each other.
I'd like to approach with what I've marked as State's Exhibit 84.
Yes, they even meticulously checked.
It is
the
2
infotainment.
pages and 4 photographs.
Just to be sure.
2 pages and 4 photographs?
Yes. They are.
Two pages front to back.
Correct.
It's on page 1. It's the same picture on the front and back.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Same for page 2.
Yes.
Do you recognize those images?
I do.
What are they?
It is the front seat of the Dodge Journey, one with plain light and the second with the alternative light.
Is that the blue star that Officer Schenker was talking about?
Yes.
Where you can see the spots lighting up a little bit?
Correct.
Okay. And is the first picture, can you see the little spots in there as well?
When I wanted to get out there, I found you. You gave me room for my toes so I could stay comfortable and keep running for miles. Memories, forever. Stay out there with Ultra.
Did you know that there's an easy way to break down your unproductive to-do list into actual actionable tasks so you can
On the screen here, are we seeing the first picture in that exhibit?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to zoom in here.
Blue star.
Now, you were aware of this during the investigation?
I was.
Okay. Did you view it as significant?
No.
Okay. Is in an investigation, does every item that you collect or every observation that you or somebody on the team makes turn out to be important?
It does not.
Can you explain what you mean?
Especially in this type of investigation, but really any, you start as broad as possible, collect as much as possible, and look at every single thing you can, and then you start to realize what's important, what's not. And this is one of those that we did not deem important in our investigation.
Let me ask you a question, sort of for example, about electronic devices. How many phones are we going to be talking about in this case?
Of significance, 3.
Okay. How many electronics did y'all seize from the house in the course of the search warrant there?
Probably over 15.
Okay. Old computers, old phones?
Thumb drives, CDs.
Okay. And we have about like 37 people on our witness list?
Yes.
How many people were interviewed in the course of this investigation?
Well over 100.
And I think we introduced 100-some images that Officer Schenker took of the residence on September 5th. And how many did he take total?
I believe it was almost 400.
Okay. Were some of them in the RV under the carport?
Yeah.
Any reason to think the RV has any relevance to the investigation?
No.
Okay. Were some of them in Billy Joe Howell and Thomas Howell's master bedroom?
Yes.
Any reason to think that room has any relevance to the investigation?
No.
How long do you think it would take to try this case if we were to call every person that you all interviewed and introduce into evidence every picture and item that you all collected at the broad stage of the investigation early on?
Including the canvas that Special Agent Austin provided, months.
Thank you. Now, one more question in reference to the driver's seat and the spots. I have to ask you this. On October 5th, at headquarters, you interacted with the defendant a lot.
Yes.
Was she menstruating that day?
She mentioned that she was, yes.
And did she have to go to the bathroom a couple of times to apply feminine hygiene products?
Yes.
Thank you. Was there a follow-up with these 3 cell phones that you all had taken that day?
Specifically Leilani's.
Can you tell me about that?
So at Chatham County Police Department, our system's called Celebrate that does the forensic extraction we talked about. Savannah Police Department, though, has a system that can do a deeper dive into the phone. It's called Gray Key.
And what happened in reference to the defendant's phone?
Yeah, Detective Cox reached out to Savannah Police, and they did a Gray Key extraction of her cell phone.
And did that have something to do with the fact that it was an iPhone?
I believe so. iPhones like to be difficult.
Now, was there follow-up done in reference to the Chevron/Azalea issue?
There was, yes.
Can you tell us, generally speaking, about that?
Yes, we went out and looked for video footage in that area. The Chevron gas station as well as Azalea Mobile Home Park both had cameras.
And when you say we went out, were you involved in that?
I was.
And what day was that?
That was on the 6th, the following day.
Okay. So you were involved in the video canvas in that area?
Correct.
Were you there when it collected the footage that day?
I was not.
And was there follow-up in reference to the dumpsters and garbage trucks and ultimately the landfill?
Yes.
And who was the point person for that?
That would be Detective Noble.
Now, we heard some testimony yesterday from Special Agent Austin about the involvement of the CARD team. Can you remind us of what that acronym stands for?
Yes, it's the Child Abduction Rapid Deployment Team, and we asked him to come down and assist.
Now, were you the lead detective for the Chatham County Police Department at this point?
Yes.
And who was the lead for the FBI?
Agent Brad Snyder.
Did the two of you work directly with the CARD team?
We did.
And can you tell us about what that involved?
We wanted as much information and as many resources as the CARD team could give us. One of those things was a template for a canvas that our team did.
And what did the canvas operation look like? Where did y'all do those things?
So canvassing, easily broken down, was just knocking on every single person's door. We did Buckhalter Road, Garrard Avenue, into Azalea, as well as I-95 and Highway 204 area.
And what was the manpower requirement involved in this thing, this canvas operation?
We broke out into 3 teams, those 3 separate locations. Each team probably had roughly 30 law enforcement officers.
And how many teams now?
3.
3 teams?
So around 90.
Okay. And how many days did this canvas operation take?
I believe it took 2 days.
And did each encounter involve filling out a questionnaire?
It did.
And those are the questionnaires Special Agent Austin talked about?
Yes.
And did they help you tailor those for this case?
Yes, he did.
I'd like to approach with an object that I do not intend to introduce into evidence, but I would like to just talk about it a little bit. And just to make the record clear on what this is, what is this here? What are we looking at?
This is binder 4 of my case file. It is the template canvas sheets that were filled out.
What size binder is that?
It is a 5-inch binder.
And roughly how many pages of interview form canvas questionnaires are in there?
700.
Did you guys also set up a tip line?
We did.
What is a tip line?
So we just used a extra cell phone, and we put up a voicemail advising people to call this number, or excuse me, we put about a notice advising people to call this number if they had any information on Quinton Simon's disappearance. And then a voicemail was set up asking whoever was calling to give us as much information, and we would call back if it was something to follow up on.
Was that something that was done on the advice of the CARD team?
Yes.
As part of the best practices in investigating a child disappearance? And
Yes.
possible abduction?
Yes.
Tell me about the manpower involved in responding to tip line calls.
One of the detectives at all times was assigned to the phone and to follow up on each one of the voicemails that was left, to review them to see whether or not they needed additional follow-up.
Does the Chatham County Police Department have a dive team?
We do, yes.
Was the dive team involved in on October 5th, 2022, or the days following?
Yes.
What is a dive team?
So it's, I think it's in connection with Marine Patrol, but it's scuba divers who have the proper qualifications and do search and rescue.
And did the dive team do anything in this investigation?
Yes, they did.
Can you tell us about those things?
Yes. Behind the residence is a in-ground pool that had a layer of algae on it, and standing above it, you aren't able to see inside. So the dive team went in and made sure there was nothing inside the pool. As well as during our canvas, there's several ponds in the area, and they made sure to look through those as well.
I think you've already said that you did receive the defendant's cell right extraction from Sergeant Coleman